In the body, connective tissues bind structures together, form a framework and support for organs in the body as a whole. Every closed system has connective tissue, the human body, the biosphere, and the open marketplace alike.
The Connective Tissue Podcast is an attempt to connect the philosophies, experts, and opinions that comprehensively encompass the 5 compounding F's of life: fact, finance, fitness, family, and freedom. Together, we represent the connective tissues of life.
Our intention is for you to use the information provided to contrast against your own walk of life to maximize every avenue of success, peace, and prosperity. No matter how you view it, movement is life. Remember, it's not like magic, it is magic. Eternally rhetorical, how do you move? I'm your co-host, Philip A. Crochin.
And I'm your co-host, Garrett G. Mezzanato.
And together,
we are the Connective Tissue Podcast.
Welcome back, man.
Welcome back, guys.
Man, it's been a pretty good day. Nice little pump that we got. Maybe we shouldn't even include that, huh?
Why not? You got to get a pump. A pump is a necessity in my life to get my mind right, get my brain right, get the blood flowing, get the juices flowing. I mean, I like to train 6 days a week. I know you're opposed to that. You know, you like resting.
The body is in recovery more than it is in training.
It is.
At least should be. So, you know, we use certain things to help us, like dietary supplements.
Dietary supplements. So that's what this episode's about. So dietary supplements. What are some of the most common supplements that you've taken in the past and that are most common out there, you know?
The most common would probably surely be protein supplement.
Protein.
The most studied supplement in the world is by far creatine.
Creatine, for sure.
And the only one proven to work, even that above a protein supplement.
And my understanding of creatine is it helps create ATP, which is your number one fuel source for exercise, right?
Sure. I would describe it more like creatine is the macro base of your phosphocreatine energy system.
Okay.
So we have a natural amount of blood creatinine already. And when you're looking at your energy systems, you go from phosphocreatine, which is anaerobic, but it's very short-lived.
What is anaerobic for the normal people out there?
Anaerobic just means that it doesn't, in order for the body to utilize that particular macronutrient for energy, it doesn't require the heart to send oxygenated blood to the muscles.
Okay.
So it just means it doesn't require oxygen. So you can tap into your phosphocreatine energy stores immediately. Like you stand up, sit down, that's phosphocreatine. If you are a competitive sprinter, the first 45 seconds of a sprint, it's going to be phosphocreatine. So
not long distance running, because that becomes aerobic.
Absolutely. So even in some of the most competitive athletes, after about 2.5 minutes, you've exhausted your anaerobic energy systems. So you go from phosphocreatine to anaerobic glycolysis, which we're using glucose for energy. And then you get into oxidation phosphorylation. We're really using fat as a substrate for energy. So creatine has been proven time and time again. Really got popular in the research literature around 1980s. And it is the most effective dietary supplement that anyone can take. You can increase your blood creatinine stores by about 70%. At that point, you really kind of see a flat line. You don't really get anything else. But that's a lot, especially in people who don't eat a lot of meat. You'll see those numbers spike pretty quickly. An optimal dose of creatine is about 5 grams a day, at least a maintenance dose. But if you want to load creatine, I would say a loading phase do about 21 grams a day for 7 days. that's how I do it whenever I use creatine.
And then you taper it down, or?
I taper down hard.
5 grams, 10 grams?
2 to 3 grams.
2 to 3 grams.
A day, sometimes every other day. Give it every 2 days. Because you'll see those results stay as long as you do a maintenance phase for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to do anything else.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry to cut you
No,
off.
that's it. No, you don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, when I was eating animal protein, for the most part, when that was the bread of my protein sources, I was never taking creatine because I was eating enough meat that had creatine in it. Now that I'm plant-based, can you get creatine from plants?
Just like protein.
Just like
protein.
You
know, you don't get the yield of protein from plants, but the building blocks of protein are abundant in your plant-based sources. So creatine is also amino-based.
Okay.
So absolutely, your body produces creatine as well. But I enjoy supplementing with, I'm not saying enjoy. I have found great success supplementing with creatine to prolong my anaerobic function. So if we making that practical, let's just say you're on a program that's 12 weeks and you come in doing 10 reps of whatever movement every set. That creatine will allow you to do like 16 reps, theoretically, right? Every set. And over that period of 12 weeks, if you do that multiplication, you've gotten a substantial increase in how many reps and that you would not have gotten otherwise, and allowed your body to get to a greater amount of muscle breakdown and recovery from it therein.
So creatine doesn't build muscle. It just gives you more energy to perform better, which has more muscular output, which will yield more gains.
Absolutely.
Because on social media, especially TikTok, during the pandemic and after, creatine has gotten super hyped up. Which,
did it?
Yeah, it did. All these influencers that don't have any credentials have been pushing creatine, saying it builds muscle. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily truth, but you have to train hard. You have to exhaust yourself to build those muscles, right? Mm. Creatine will help you exhaust yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it prolongs your anaerobic function. That has great implications, for performance in anything. The confusion probably comes from how the body is using the creatine, particularly how much it retains water in the beginning. It draws water back up into the cell, but you got to remember your muscles are 70-75% water, so it is allowing you to do more on a functional level, while those cellular changes are happening. In that time, the muscles are going to look more full,
denser.
Yeah, just because it's bringing in more water for a period of time. So that might be what people are seeing and thinking and feeling, but really they're experiencing an increased anaerobic function.
I love it. Let's talk about protein. What do you know about protein? What's your take on it?
Protein's great. I like to supplement with protein when I have it. I like to supplement with protein. It's just to make sure I'm hitting the numbers necessary for building skeletal muscle consistently. The recommendation for elite athletes would be about 1.8 grams per kilogram of the body weight. Sometimes I just make it real smooth, round it up to 2. Because that number is always increasing in terms of recommendations. But whatever you don't use for protein, your body's gonna get rid of it. So I definitely would be cautious not to just have really expensive excretion, because that's what happened. Same thing like creatine. Creatine is really expensive on the market. I'm in the dietary supplement industry with Black Swan, and creatine is one of our main ingredients in that product. And if you're taking more than your body is able to break down and absorb, then you're just going to have really expensive excretion all the time. So, it's important to understand the dosage. Tell me about some of your experience with dietary supplements in general.
Yeah, I mean, I currently am taking protein, creatine, amino acids, and as well as fat burners. Personally, this is the first time I've ever experimented with creatine, and I'm fasting. I take a scoop of creatine before I come with my pre-workout, and I take a scoop of creatine after right now because I'm still on a loading phase. I notice more results. I'm stronger. I'm not fatiguing as quickly, and I'm actually being able to put on more muscle mass even though I'm fasting while I'm training.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I would have never guessed it. I would have never fasted until I met you while training. I used to think, oh man, I got to eat a bunch of carbs before I work out. But if you're eating carbs throughout the day after your workout, you have that glycogen storage, and if you're taking creatine, you have that ATP readily available to go work out the next morning, and that's something that opened my eyes to creatine.
Yeah, understanding that metabolic window is important. It's more important to have your protein within that 45 minute metabolic window post workout.
Okay.
Creatine, just have it in the body in general. It's different. So that understanding, when to actually dose with things, that's important for sure. I got into the supplement game, or at least my interest got into it during my undergrad. I actually had a really cool story. And this is Googleable, right? So I was at Troy University. Had a lot of pressure on me, man. I was going into my pro day. I just left the team, left the football team my last year, my senior year, which would have been my fifth year. And I'll talk about it later, but politics weren't where they needed to be. Had to hash it out with the coach. Respectful, but had to hash it out. And the next day, once I left the team, I was invited to join the track team.
Okay.
So that allowed me to still be eligible to show on pro day and compete with the rest of the guys for all the pro scouts, and I had a big day. I ended up doing 29 reps on bench press with 225. My best actually was 30, but on that day I did 29, and
that's crazy.
The way I did it was I was at the same time I was in a lab practicum for exercise physiology, I believe, and I was in a group. What we were testing was the effects of supplementing with sodium bicarbonate to buffer extracellular hydrogens as they accumulate during prolonged anaerobic function. So something like the bench press is all anaerobic, So I ended up taking what we did in class in lab practicum and applying it to myself personally for my performance that day. So the formulation was, I did what was it, like 8 grams, 8 grams of sodium bicarbonate with 500 milliliters of a glucose fructose mix, which is essentially the formulation for like a Gatorade, the original formulation for Gatorade.
Okay.
And the gut proteins carry that a lot easier with the glucose fructose mix. Then about 10 minutes later, I dosed with 500 milliliters of water. And this was all to minimize on GI distress. I did have a little GI distress. And I also supplemented with caffeine as a pain duller. So I use caffeine as a vasodilator to increase absorption and a pain doler during the performance, and I ended up doing the most reps that year in the country at the bench press.
225 for 29 reps. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk a little bit about amino acids before we get on to our next subject.
Yeah.
What exactly do you know that amino acids do? From my understanding, they keep your body in an anabolic state, keep you from breaking down muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, I've been consuming I would throw a couple scoops of BCAAs in my water, and it's helping me. I'm not getting as sore. I feel like I'm recovering faster, as well as there's electrolytes in there, so I'm staying hydrated. What do you know about amino acids, BCAAs?
Well, amino acids, dosing with amino acids and supplementing with protein is essentially the same thing.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
This protein breaks down to amino acids. So
yeah,
if you're drinking amino acids, let's say you're plant-based, you're only eating maybe 60, 70 grams of protein with your food, right?
Okay.
50, 60 grams of protein as a dietary supplement, and then you're drinking amino acids all day. Are you getting enough amino acids? Are you getting enough protein in your diet?
Yeah, I think so.
Sufficiently?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. If you're doing that 50, 60 grams per meal and you're having 2 or 3 meals, then yeah, the amino acids, they're going to be tertiary with the benefits that they provide. Still can be good to have. I've never really done the amino acid, the BCAAs, if I'm doing protein. But the science is the exact same. It's identical,
Same building blocks.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you use BCAAs?
I've been using BCAAs always when I'm in a cut. When I'm in a caloric deficit, I'm always consuming
That's a good
BCAAs.
time.
I don't really need to do them when I'm in a surplus, when I'm bulking, if you will.
Yeah.
But right now, since I'm cutting, every time I've done a show, a competition, doing so much cardio, you got to prevent yourself from breaking down those muscles. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your muscle mass while you're cutting,
Yeah.
Doing an hour of cardio, And you've told me that's backwards, and I've actually haven't done any cardio this cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting leaner faster. I'm gaining muscle while I'm getting leaner, and my body's recompositioning while on BCAAs. I'm also taking fat burners. My fat burner contains yohimbine. It contains carnitine. It contains bioperine, which is a form of black pepper, and then cayenne pepper. But you can also take all of those separately and create your own fat burner, if you will, as well as including caffeine as a appetite suppressant. Which that's my supplement. There's all of these things are supplements, so they're going to supplement good nutrition and exercise. These supplements aren't going to do anything for you if you're not exercising properly.
Yeah.
And if you're not eating right, the supplements will do nothing.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And I want to put this out there. If you're not eating right, if you're not training hard, supplements won't do jack shit for you.
I mean, it won't have the advertised results.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you have a diet that is just trash already, and then you're doing a little bit of supplementation, sure, you'll probably see some type of benefit if you start to move more. I mean, that's typically how it happens. Someone that goes from not moving at all, they move a little bit and they do supplementation. So yeah, I see some benefits. But I was talking to Ev not too long before the show, and she said something that was I found hilarious. It was someone who's obese, someone who's obese and doesn't work out is going to see. I mean, someone who's obese and works out is going to have better results than someone who's obese and does work. I think I'm messing that up.
I think she said somebody who's obese and works out is going to live longer than somebody who is not obese and doesn't work out.
Precisely.
I don't know the exact science behind it, but I would assume so because that obese person's moving. But also take in mind, if somebody is not moving and they're not obese, their heart's not having to work as hard.
I think that's the main thing.
Their organs aren't having to work as hard.
It comes down to heart health.
Yeah, if you're overweight, you're obese, you're moving, your heart's working extra hard rather than somebody who's lean, right?
For every pound of fat, the body lays an additional 7 miles of blood vessels.
Jesus.
And that means the heart has to send oxygenated blood through those blood vessels for the tissues that they travel through to not become necrotic.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, if you're overweight, you're putting your heart under a lot of undue stress.
As well as all your other organs, because your visceral organs, they already have fat around them, visceral fat. You're just creating more visceral fat. And that's why when you're exercising, when you start a diet, you start exercising, your body's recompositioning from the inside out. That's why you don't see results externally right away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're 300 pounds and you start a diet, you start moving, you're going to drop weight pretty quickly rather than somebody who's 10 pounds overweight, you know? Mm-hmm. But people take in mind that weight doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. When you start a regimen and you're trying to lose body fat, you're trying to lose weight, stop focusing on the weight. Focus on how you're feeling first. Then focus on what you're seeing in the mirror. Your body will start to change, but it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. And supplements aren't going to get those results that you're expecting. Discipline and accountability will.
I think you said something important. Looking in the mirror is different than hopping on the scale 100%. On the time. Pay attention to body composition.
Where are you changing? Most people will notice changes in their face, their hands, their feet first. Usually it wakes up. It works its way up your extremities for the most part, up your calves, up your forearms, up your biceps, up your quads. The last place most people lose all of it from is the midsection.
And this is just with a change in nutrition, right?
Just a change in nutrition.
If you're moving though, if you're using the muscles local to an area, chances are you'll see some change in that area. I mean, we can get into the conversation of spot reduction. You know, I think it's a misunderstood topic. But
that's another conversation. We'll get into that.
But I think people see the least amount of results here is because they move the least in the core, you know, and there is a way to move the muscles on the spine, and we should do that. We should do that regularly. You'll see that with a lot of martial artists or dancers, these athletes that use their entire body and changing shape. A lot of the times you'll see that they'll have very tight waist, you know.
Sucked up, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some natural herbs and remedies. What are some of the? Do you know any of the natural remedies for increasing testosterone?
So, I think we have to say that with a caveat.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that you hear, not necessarily backed by science, that improve.
You just gotta be aware that perhaps taking a tablespoon of ashwagandha every morning may not be enough of a clinical dose to actually increase testosterone levels. You know, it's a bit of a microdosing type of thing. Now, I have used ashwagandha. Great results. Can't say whether or not the results were exclusive to ashwagandha. I like it. Don't mind using it. I prefer using some type of natural remedy over always using pharmaceuticals. But we do have to put that out that some claims are commercially exaggerated.
Some are. You know, there's things like fenugreek, yohimbine, maca root, D-aspartic acid. Personally, you know, the only way to know is to get blood work done, right? I'm curious now that I'm plant-based. I would like, and I'm natural, I would like to start. I currently am supplementing with fenugreek, maca root, ashwagandha, D-aspartic acid, as well as yohimbine. I should have got my test levels taken prior to, and maybe 12 to 16 weeks after using these supplements. But personally, I feel like stuff's working better, right?
Yeah.
Like down there. and I've noticed tremendous amount of strength gains, more vascularity, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know if it's working. So
it's hard to control it.
It's hard to control.
You're doing a lot of changes in your body, so your test levels are probably going to increase anyway. The way to really control it would be to have two of you. One of you don't do anything, and then supplement with all those and see are your test levels increasing. I've not done a lot of a deep dive into the research literature around dosing with ashwagandha and maca, but I tell you what, my I don't know if it's a different term. It's leaving my head, but the guy who got me into Muay Thai, he's in great shape. Great shape. He's got some years on me. When I met him, I thought maybe he was 24, and he's always like, take those ginsengs, man. Ginsengs from everywhere.
Ginseng.
And he makes this tablet. It was really a capsule. He makes them himself, and he calls them sensu beans. But he gives them to us, everyone as part of the Mana Muay Thai family. Shout out to the guys. He gives us these sensu beans, and I tell you what, everybody in our group is a hammer.
Ginseng is more of a mental stimulant, yeah?
Can be.
I
mean, that's what they are. They're acclaimed to give a lot of mental clarity, but also testosterone improvement, hormone regulation, all those things included.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of theanine? L-theanine?
Mm-mm.
So it's an amino acid, but science says that it can improve mental clarity and focus.
Mm-hmm.
They've studied people with ADHD, and it's helped them calm down. So there's a lot of L-theanine in a lot of pre-workouts nowadays. And the one I'm currently taking, I kind of feel like I'm in a euphoric zone. When I'm working out, I'm able to focus, kind of that tunnel vision that you're looking for. Previously, I've taken pre-workouts with like DMAA and DMAE, which they're more of a mental stimulant as well, but also I feel jittery and heart palpitations, not good stuff. And so I try to stay on the cleaner route when I take pre-workouts. But if you were to give somebody who's a new gym goer who wants to start supplementing because they've taken care of their nutrition, they're moving regularly, if you were to recommend 3 to 5 supplements, what would you recommend them to start taking?
I would say lean on the research literature. The amino acids that are most correlated with skeletal muscle production are valine, leucine, isoleucine, those 3. And those are also abundant in peas and pumpkins. But that's what the research literature says there. So I would say go for a protein with those in them. Creatine, being the most studied supplement in the world, will prolong anaerobic function. So if you are new to fitness in general and or performance, inclusive of distance runners, supplementing with a creatine will be great for you, because let's just give a practical example. If you are a 200-meter sprinter, which is in the track and field world, is still considered a short run, but to any untrained person, that's a lot. Fastest times are going to be 45, 51, for a moderate, I don't know if it's a moderate, but someone who has been training, but it's not necessarily saying these are the fastest time ever. That creatine will last you pretty much all of that race.
Okay.
And that's important to have, because that will that will take you beyond that lactate threshold that most people hit, that wall early on. So protein, creatine. Then someone that's new.
I would say protein, creatine, and if you need to pick me up, depending on if you work out early in the morning or work out late at night, maybe pre-workout. But I would start with maybe caffeine pills, or maybe start with just coffee first. But
caffeine is a wonder drug. I'll give you that.
I prefer pumps. Maybe take a non-stim pre-workout, see how you feel. That'll help with vasodilation, which will open up your blood vessels, allow more blood flow, oxygen, nutrient flow to the muscle.
Yeah.
You'll appear more vascular and stuff like that. But let's end here on those supplements. So protein, creatine, and then if you need an energy pick-me-up or a pump vasodilator, a pump or a vasodilator in the form of L-arginine, L-citrulline.
I like L-arginine.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my favorite. So protein, creatine, and some type of energy.
I'll throw in a bonus. Glucosamine.
Yeah. Joint help with the joint health.
Joint health, collagen production.
Joint health and collagen production. That's it, guys. Episode number 3.
We'll end it there.